that will speak out and say, I'm so tired of this, this, and this.
They're not, because a lot of those
won't
women
go support the opposite.
No, because
You
a lot of them women, there's probably more Too Short fans that I know that are women that are anything, honestly.
He got a lot of women fans.
Yeah.
I can't cap.
But what about the men that also support the women that are upholding it?
We know why the men are supporting the women that upholded it. This goes back to the beginning of time again.
So you're saying
don't break out that Bible,
yeah, we ain't going back down that road. Yeah,
so what you're saying
we can't
is
go back
that
down the road.
It's the chicken and not the egg.
Shout out to the Queen Rapsody. Let's talk. Let's show a video of her talking about how it's not only men that are upholding the patriarchy in hip hop music. I think this video is very enlightening. She makes some good points, so we'll play that and we'll discuss.
Women complaining about sometimes the sexualization of women in music, not just hip hop, just music in general. And it's like, it's because of the men. But in my observation, and there's nothing wrong with it, a lot more women buy into the images that are more sexualized. That's just an honest conversation. I don't know, sometimes it could be, I feel liberated through this music, or whatever have you. But it's just an observation, and so I just speak on it because I know there's this narrative about men. We do live in a patriarchal system, but there's this narrative that it's only men holding up the sexualization of women in hip hop, and that's not true.
Yeah.
Jay Moore, you're the first person I thought about when I saw this clip. We've had this conversation, we've talked about a lot because we've been doing this for a long time. So certain things are going to come, recycle, right?
I first thought of you when I thought about the...
Don't do that. Don't do
sexualization.
That. Don't do that.
Patriarchy.
Don't do that.
You.
Don't do that. But I'm very curious to see what you think about what Rap says on this. Do you think she has a point? Did she break this down correctly in your opinion?
She's exactly right. But we can have the discussion about what it is in hip hop to maintain the patriarchy. We can have a discussion what that is in government. We can have a discussion of what that is in the church.
True.
You can go across all, and look, I said this one time. I don't think it was on this show. And I know it wasn't on the show because it predated this, us doing this thing.
Are you stunned you was doing rounds?
I mean, people have asked me things and I've had answers. And,
go ahead.
It was about, do you think we'll ever have a woman president? I said no, because women won't vote for her.
Wow. That's tough.
Depends. I mean, Tupac didn't think we was going to have a black president, but we did.
Yeah, but you know what? Black people voted for the black president. Yeah, women did not vote for the woman who was running for president.
But what kind of women didn't vote for that president?
Well, we know exactly what kind of women didn't vote for her.
There we go.
Okay, but that's what, when I said that's who I was thinking about. Okay. Because they are still invested in maintaining a man as the person in power.
Right.
Whether it didn't matter if it was, Donald Trump, but they would have voted for any man over a woman because there's a level of pettiness. I'm sorry, ladies, it is what it is. But also when you talk about the music, we've talked about this before. I said, when we're DJs who are out and about, we play things based on what women like. When given the opportunity to listen to Rapsody or hear some girl sing about buttholes, ladies choose to sing about buttholes.
That brown one.
Yeah. So
I mean, he right though.
I mean, to stop me when I say something wrong.
Yeah, he right though.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's all these.
It don't sound like it's supposed to, but he's right.
There are all these women who have this incredible artistic expression and are speaking about real things, but the only ones that are supported by women, by and large, are the ones who basically are channeling stripper culture. And I have no problem with that, but that's all women support. So when you're talking about maintaining the patriarchy, yes, women have a large part to do with that, because these sexualized images that we see on TV all the time are driven by the likes and dislikes of women. If they wanted to see somebody talking about politics and wanted to talk about actual women's issues, they would stream that. They would request that, but they don't. They want to put it on the floor, buy me a Birkin bag, twerk that ass for an icy chain. That's what y'all are out here doing. That's what you support. So whenever men, and this thing is, women, they have this thing where they want to blame men for these images. They want to blame men for these songs. Stop blaming men. This is on you, ladies. This is what you have done. This is what you support. So, you know, I was pointing my finger. I'm sorry, ladies. I don't want to do that.
Let
me pull back.
You trying to get 150 comments.
But I'm just saying, like, I've been doing this a long time, and I've said it on this show before. When they pull the data for what it is that they're going to play on the radio, they basically throw away all the information for men. Every nasty song you hear on the radio, in the club, or, you know, just out and about is based on the likes and dislikes of women. So don't blame men for certain things, because this is what you want to hear.
Listen, women have decided what was going to happen since the beginning of time. Literally everything. If you're a Bible reading, a Christian, or whatever you identify as for religiously, a woman has decided what you are going to do, whether it be good or bad, since the beginning of time, and that's just how it's been.
Explain.
Well,
Take
Adam and Eve. The first story of the Bible is literally about a woman deciding the fate of mankind. How did that happen?
Man said, "Don't do this one thing," and she was like, "Whatever,
don't do this one thing."
I hate long.
I'm a boss.
I know.
I'm gonna go ahead and have that apple.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that she played him.
Or she got played and the man got manipulated because
Adam might have been a simp.
He wanted what she had. I mean, everybody knows that the SSY has a certain power.
What does that spell?
Something.
Nah. Nope.
It has a certain power that may influence a man to do certain things. So
shouldn't a man be able to control himself and in those those areas?
Yeah, he should. But at the end of the day,
what he should do versus real life,
that sealed man's fate. So if we're going by Bible principles and Bible knowledge, what she found out.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you don't. But
you don't have to. But what he's saying,
but
though.
what I'm saying is, regardless if you don't believe or not,
out here.
Believe or not, women have pretty much determined man's fate since the beginning of time. Whether you believe in Christianity, the Bible, or whatnot, whatever.
So if I don't believe in it, then it's no.
No, not necessarily, because we're literally talking about. What are we talking about?
I don't know. I'm just
shit.
He's just poking.
We're talking about how women support the patriarchy across
the patriarchy.
They do.
Okay.
So all levels of, whether it be from music to government.
Yes. And so to your point,
to religion.
To your point, it's never only just been men.
Right.
There are always been women that have stood right alongside men, and sometimes been the antagonist of the story.
Or been the one that made the decision at the end of the day, even if they weren't the one making the decision, because the story goes, Adam made his decision based off the influence of Eve.
Look,
Adam should have known better.
I
don't care if he's the first man.
Even if we take it away from the Bible, you realize there were women who were not into having gain the right to vote.
Yeah,
because you know what? Because part of it
can't support them liberals.
Part of it has to do with racism. Because I can't. What was the woman's name? Not Susan B. Anthony.
She's the one that made the flag.
I know who you're talking about.
She's so.
You talking about the one on the coin?
Basically, the woman.
She's the one that made the flag.
The women's suffrage movement. Who was the head of women's.
I'm trolling too much.
The only reason she wanted women to have the right to vote is because black men in certain parts of the country got the right to vote before white women. And so
they
it's
had to take a test in order to vote.
No, even in places where that wasn't true, where people were a little bit.
But it was still based off black men.
But it was like, how dare you give black men something before you give to white women?
Exactly.
But also part of the reason men had the right to vote, and this is why women weren't for women gaining the right to vote, is because part of the reason you got to vote is because you could go to war. So women were like, we want no parts of that, so we want no parts of voting. This whole equality thing sometimes goes too far for certain women to be able to deal with.
We can get into but that'll cause some problems.
Oh, no, let's cause some problems. Because let me tell you something.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Think about this. Every single one of us.
And here we go.
Before we went away to college, before we get any kind of student loan or whatever, what do we have to do?
You had to sign that postcard that came in the mail as soon as you turned 18.
Service.
There you go.
And that's something that women don't have to do.
Yeah.
We have to do that?
You didn't sign that postcard?
You don't remember when you did it, but you did it.
You did it.
And if you didn't do it, we know what that is.
Apparently. I don't know.
We ain't going to say it, but we know what that is if you didn't sign it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah. So but all of our female friends who may be listening right now or viewing us right now, you have no idea what we're talking about because you didn't have to go through that same thing.
I remember when it came to my house, I was like, "What is this?" My mom was like, "Oh, you got to sign that and send that back in."
Exactly,
it's real.
Yeah.
If not, they going.
Now this is the thing.
I don't remember.
You want to get controversial? Want to get controversial real quick?
A little bit more? Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, what you say, Lone? We already,
we're there already.
For all of
you already got two.
It's because for all of our friends who are a part of the community and they may have been born a certain way, but now they identify as men.
Yeah,
right. Are y'all willing to go full out and sign up for selective service?
Oh, you trying to get 300 comments?
I'm just saying, if you want to be a man, let's go ahead and do all the thing to come with being a man.
Listen, honestly, they probably ain't tripping on that because I don't know anybody that signed that selective service thing and actually got called in.
So no, because we don't.
I don't either. I ain't gonna
because
cap.
We don't have right now. We have a 100% volunteer military.
Exactly.
But,
so it don't really. It doesn't really have that same effect as somebody that may have been involved in like the Wonder Years era, like with Fred. What's his name? And them
Fred Hampton?
No.
Shout out to Fred Hampton.
Shout out to Fred Hampton.
He's from there.
Shout out to Fred Hampton Jr.
Fred Hampton Jr. too, though.
Yeah.
I met him before. That's a good brother.
Fred Arnold.
Yeah, Fred Arnold and his brother.
Fred Savage. That was the
Fred
actor.
Savage. Yeah, you right.
Kevin Arnold was the character on the show.
There we go.
He said Fred.
But those of us that watched the Wonder Years, you know what we're talking about. Man. That whole situation, and then I think somebody's brother died.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that was the selective service era.
Yeah, but
even my dad was drafted to the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
So Vietnam War pretty much set in place what we're going through today, but it doesn't really affect a lot of people.
Let things keep going the way they're going and these recruitment numbers go down.
Yeah, I actually was thinking that exact same thing because people aren't enlisting like they used to.
True.
Plus, and the people who want to enlist are too fat. Like they've been playing Call of Duty, so they can't answer the Call of Duty.
Well, take that out.
Yeah, we got
But anyway.
Oh, you gonna take that out?
Yeah, he'll take that out.
Well, they say that on the radio too.
There's a handful of things I got to take out of this episode.
Words that they say on the radio. But nah. I mean, you go through basic training. I actually would enlist in the Army just to go through basic training if I didn't have to do anything else after basic training.
Doesn't work that way, my brother.
I know. That's why
let me just go ahead and get in shape real quick.
Yeah.
Let's bring this back around to Sister Rapsody, though. Like to put a bow on this because, Lone, I haven't heard from you yet. Have you forgot about what Rapsody said at this point?
I think,
or does she have a point in terms?
Everything that she said was absolutely true.
All right.
Even the parts where she said, that I also agreed with her that, a lot of times women are doing things in the spirit of, uplifting themselves.
Yeah.
And the liberty over their own bodies and all the things that she kind of alluded to. It's not a controversial statement from what she said to me. But it is kind of sometimes controversial to suggest that, it's not just men upholding the patriarchy. And it is, like I said earlier, it is look, black people can be racist towards black people. White people can,
some of the worst white supremacists have been black people.
It's, across.
That's real.
You don't get excluded simply because you are of said demographic. In the same, we've talked about this a lot in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Ruckus was the worst.
But he wasn't worse than Harriet Tubman's first husband.
It's the same as like when we talk about Kid Rock and people try to defend Kid Rock because he has a mixed child and
they're still doing that.
Just because you have a child or you have a friend that's black doesn't mean that you don't, uphold racist, viewpoints.
Because racist people had black slaves.
Yeah. Your proximity to blackness does not absolve you from racism.
And black people had slaves. So there's that as well. So, but I guess what I'm saying is like, it's interesting that she said that, kind of. I'm curious. I don't know. I think there's truth to what she was saying. There's a lot of truth to what she was saying. And I think that women do, I think now in 2024, I think women have a lot more control over this than, let's say, 20 years ago and maybe 30 years ago and 40 years ago and definitely even further back than that. So a lot of what we see out there is based upon what sells, and women understand right now what sells, and women are owning that. And whether good or bad.
Rapsody has always been the conundrum, though, because she's been the one it just stands out because she's so dope lyrically. We know the type of music that Rapsody makes, but I would love to see a pie chart just strictly for Rapsody of her fan base?
You know what it is.
Yeah,
I think I know what
I've been to the show.
I know what it is, and I've been to the shows, but
I think she actually talked about that in this interview.
as well? She addressed that as well?
Yeah.
Because
which is what the interviews with, I think her name's Nyla. She's the lady that, I think she's on the Breakfast Club sometimes.
Oh,
she subs in every once in a while.
What's her name?
If it's the person I'm thinking of, she's also on Brilliant Idiots from time to time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Lone, the reason I said that is because it's not about me not being aware of what her base is. I'm thinking, has it evolved? Has anything changed? Rapsody done been out longer than I even think about.
Is she gaining more fans?
That's what I'm talking about. Like, has she gained more fans? Has the pie chart shifted? Because if I looked at it, 8, 9, 10 years ago, because she's been out that long, yeah, I know exactly what it looks like. But I don't know what it looks like now. Has it changed?
Like,
I'd be curious to see has it changed.
Have any of the City Girls fans from the last episode converted over to Rapsody fans?
Even if it's 3 or 4 of them, I'd highly doubt it. But I don't know because I don't have anything to support that. Look, I would just be I'm very interested in to see if her fan base and who she has that follows her analytically has changed. If it has evolved, or if it's just been stagnant throughout the whole time she's been rocking with the people that she's been rocking.
But how does it change then?
How does it change?
Yeah.
Well,
how does the idea of having women support the patriarchy change?
Yeah, but there's hella factors.
Women have to get tired of it.
Right.
That's one part.
It's not going to happen.
Women have to get tired of supporting things that are not in their interest. There's a lot of women just like to go along to get along.
Because you have women that will speak out and say, "I'm so tired of this, and this."
They're not, because
but they won't go support the opposite.
No, because a lot of them women, there's probably more Too Short fans that I know that are women that are anything. Honestly,
he got a lot of women fans.
Yeah,
I can't cap.
But what about the men that also support the women that are upholding it?
We know why the men are supporting the women that upholded it. This goes back to the beginning of time again.
So you're saying
don't break out that Bible,
yeah, we ain't going back down that road. Yeah,
so what you're saying is
go back down the road.
It's the chicken and not the egg,
or
which has been
they actually
proved that it actually was the chicken first.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right.
Based upon proteins or something.
Well, kind of that makes sense because if the rib came out of the man, then the chicken had to be here first, right?
Ribs. I mean,
do you like ribs?
Listen, I'm agreeing to your statement.
Yeah, I know.
Because essentially, somebody had to be born first for something to be born out of them.
What I said is just based upon whatever some scientist or whatever calculated, and whether or not I believe that a rib was taken out of a person and say, "Here, start make a woman." Like, that's another thing.
I mean,
but let's circle the wagons. Let's circle the wagons.
What I'm saying is like I guess my main thing with this whole thing is that I don't really look at this as a man issue or a woman issue.
Right.
I look at this just as it's both, and they both complement. Like the support of the patriarchy is like this wedged thing that feeds itself.
So both should be held accountable.
Yes, both men and women.
All right.
Or anybody that does uphold it.
All right.
But there are interesting
So we're saying
things about it.
Really, if you go back to the Bible, there's a bunch of simps in the Bible.
A lot of stuff in the Bible.
Joseph might have been simping. Merry Christmas to all who
hey, look, Samson,
who celebrate.
His girl left him after he cut his hair.
I mean, who's that guy that God killed his entire family, but he still was like a supporter?
Job.
Yeah, he was a simp for God.
And his wife looked back and got hit by that. She got turned into a pillar of salt because she was messing with that Sodom and Gomorrah energy. There's a whole lot of Sodom and Gomorrah energy going on right now. We ain't gonna talk about that.
What up, Diddy?
All right, man.
I'm just saying,
what a great episode.
It was written. I mean, at the end of the day, it was written, right?
Shout out to Nas.
This might have to be a Patreon only.
I'm trying to keep it from being Patreon only.
We ain't speaking nothing but facts.
No, it's okay. We can flow from the survival scrolls. Let's get it.
Let me give you my rib.
You didn't give up your rib when you got married?
I don't even know what that means.
He really here.
I don't know what it means.
Can we?
No.
Shall we pivot, gentlemen?
I just know.
All right.
I ain't gonna come off no ribs.
I know you're here.
What about if they on the grill though? Coming up off them ribs on the grill.
That's ignorant.
A little sauce on them. I'm gonna provide some baby backs.
That's ignorant.
to my people to come over and break bread with me. Even
Jay Moore said he won his whole rib.
But he ain't
dinner.
cooking a steak for
No
you.
steaks, though. Y'all on your own.